What up? What up? Neighbor's embedded up. Alright, so this Cutlass right here. Did it a few years back. Full coilover suspension, frame notch, front and back. But he's driven it a good amount of miles in a few years, and it's just never been gone over. He doesn't have any issues other than wanting it to be checked out. And his steering column, it's a tilt wheel, and the steering column needs to be repacked. So I tried to get a kit. I had the wife call to try to get a repack kit, but they kept giving a rebuild kit for the gearbox, but it has nothing to do with the gearbox. It has to do with the steering column. So anyways, I figured with those 4 bolts that are inside there, I know you got to take the steering column apart, you got to take the turn signal stuff out of there, the lock plate. So I'm going to attempt to see what I can do to tighten it up. But right now, this column lock, I took the bolt out, and I'm not exactly sure why it won't open up, so I still got to mess with that. And, I got the battery on charge, but the dome light's on, so I need to turn the dome light out, take it out, or turn it off, whatever. But anyways, here's the other thing. The rag joint right there, this car's got a lot of slop, right? So, let's see if I can do this so you guys can see. Look at how much slop is in the rag joint. And then the column, or not the column, the gearbox, is turning that little bit, right? Look how much I'm turning the steering wheel now. Right? Not moving the wheels at all. So, we could put a new rag joint on there, or you can get a Jeep shaft, or whatever. But, you can see the power steering fluid is coming out, and it has a suspension on this side. You can see it's all wet. That's coming straight out the gearbox. You guys see the braces underneath here? I never took the braces off this car. I can't stand those braces. And when everybody puts the red ones on there, this and that, you don't need those braces. So yeah, to me, the gearbox is not worth rebuilding. Buy the Borgson gearbox, put that on there, and you get a faster ratio. Put a new rag joint on at the same time. How does that rag joint hook to? I think you gotta drill the rivets out or something. So I'd have to take the whole shaft off anyways in order to change that. But the wheel wells on this one, in the top here, you can see what I say about Cutlasses. So I've never trimmed this one all the way up. So you can see it's bent and cracked, and the tire's been catching it. So I need to trim these off. Trim those off. Clean it up. Back here, I had a little piece of rubber in between this metal down here. I normally trim this up higher. So I'll probably end up trimming this up higher. I'll trim the plastic up higher. And then I noticed on the passenger side, we basically have the same issue. You can see that it's broke off, but the tire's still rubbing that area. So you gotta cut those holes up higher, and you gotta grind into it. Then let's see back here, yeah, this is a little low. So he says really it only does it when he backs up. Oh look, we got a mark right here on the inner wheel well. But the tire is not cut up. Well, it might have a little rub mark right there. Maybe. But yeah, these are 24s. Concave. These are not the wheels I set the car up with. Well, like I was saying, this car is not narrowed. And you just got the regular coilover brackets on the housing. The brakes, let's see. The brakes were on this car when the car came. This car is the one that was sitting really high, real high. And then I was able to tuck it. No mini tub again on this one. Something just made noise. I think my furnace made noise. Turn it on. But so you can see how far that thing's under. Well, it's a 24 by 10, 11 overall. This side, same thing, tucked up underneath there. So the car could go down lower, not have a problem. But I'll mess with this column a little bit, and then I'm gonna get it up in the air so I can take the front wheels off. I can go over the back. I'm pretty sure this one has a 250 spring in it. So I could probably soften up the back some. Not that he says it rides bad at all, but this was back when I take a 12-inch spring, compress it to 11 inches. So I'll look at how I got it all set up and see if I can loosen the spring up some. Just because I know from all the years of doing this stuff that I can make these cars ride way better with coilovers. Meaning that you only have that little bitty sidewall, and that's what a lot of people don't get. When you go from a stock wheel with a stock sidewall, you know, big sidewall, a lot of your ride is in that sidewall. So then when you drop down to that, you're changing the ride of the car in the door. So correct tire pressure, correct setting on the coilovers, correct spring rate, correct adjustment to the spring on the coilover. You can't just turn around and change your height and turn the spring up more on a well-done setup. Then you're making the spring rate greater, which is making it stiffer. So a lot comes into play with this stuff, and a lot of people don't want to listen, and a lot of people think they know what the hell they talking about. I've done it over and over and over and over. Custom alignments. You guys watch all my cars, watch all these videos, watch the cars when they turn, watch the cars when they park, watch when they back up and park. You can see all these other cars that are out there that are big badass cars, you know, beautiful paint, beautiful interior, beautiful suspension, beautiful frames, this and that. But then watch the car park, watch the car back up, watch how the car turns when it's in motion, when it turns, and watch the wheel look like it's gonna fold over. Watch the wheel sit cambered in when they back up, cambered, or want to go straight up when they go forward. It's all in the alignment. You know, a lot of people think that the wheels in the front, because of the big wheels, that you have to tone them in a quarter of an inch. Well, no, that throws everything off. You have to have a dead set square front measurement from whatever part of the tire to the other side, whatever part of the tire, then transfer that to the back. If you have the exact same numbers front and back on alignment plates, it's going to go straight. If this spindle is degreed more back than the passenger spindle, the car is going to go, it's going to pull to the right. The spindle always wants to go to the way that it's degreed, meaning if it's degreed back, the weight of the spindle is trying to turn it. So speaking on the left side, if the spindle is leaned back some, because that's your caster, then the car wants to go to the right. If the right wants to move back more, it wants to go to the left. So you can move shims around, but when you move shims around, then you have to redo the towing and tow out. So a lot goes into play with all that. A lot of these Firestone, stuff like that, you know, quick lube places like that that offer alignments. There's a lot of places that won't touch bigger in cars, still to this day. Now, is it worth, if you can't get somebody like me to do your alignment, is it worth to go to somebody that is very good at it? One of these places, a Firestone, I can't think of the other places, names, Mike's More Miles, stuff like that. You want to be able to talk to somebody that really knows, and then they can get your steering wheel set correctly, so that way your steering wheel, well, like this wheel doesn't really matter, and then you got your center cap, you can put your center cap on wherever you want to line it up. But with a stock steering wheel, to get that steering wheel perfectly straight, again, I've said that people, if their steering wheel is off a little bit, they think their alignment is off. So, if you pull your car straight into a parking lot, stop, keep the wheel straight, move the car 10 feet forward, stop, get out, look at it. Leave the wheel straight, get in the car, back the wheel up 10, 15 feet, stop, get out, look at it. If you back up and your wheels are cambered in at the top, something's loose or your alignment is not dead on. If you pull it forward and the wheels stay straight up, look perfectly straight, you're good. You can somewhat eyeball from the back of the vehicle when you look at the background, because the background is most of the time because of the solid axle. You know, you'll be able to see. This one, you can see the wheel is turned to the right in the front a little bit. On the south, you go over here, you look, you can see this one is turned to the right a little bit. It shows more in person than on the camera. But I'm gonna go over all this little stuff on here. But I'm hoping to get the steering column taken apart and figure out if I can repack it. I know years ago I watched it done, and there's like 4 little bolts inside here, and it doesn't seem like it's stripped too bad. It just seems like it's loose, and I don't think I hear anything bouncing around in there, but I gotta get that lock off there. Original 442, I think this one, what's it say for the VIN? It says 1, 2, 3, 4. The 4th one is a G, and let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The 10th one is coming up at F. So 4th one being a G, I think that 85. See what the door tag says. Door tag says oh, I guess I'm not seeing it. Weight, rear, blah blah. Maybe it was on a different tag up here. Yeah, I don't see it. But anyways, door shut pretty nice. Interior's nice. Got a sunroof. Nice. Got a 383 small block Chevy in it. Runs pretty good. Lots of little stuff, guys. Lots of little stuff. What do we got going on here? Oh, when they mounted the tire, so it still has the bead sealer, bead lube, whatever you want to call it. Now, if you guys remember me straightening these out on Kevin's car, the darker color. Oh, that one don't even want to move in. That one must have other problems. Alright, let me see if I can get this column off. Get that lock off there. Get it taken apart. Figure it out. But yeah. Alright, y'all. I'll be back with some more info on this business. Alright. Man, it's so windy. I'm freezing. Anyways, wind howling through here. I got the steering wheel off. I was actually able to get this lock plate off. I pushed it in. Was able to get the clip out of there. Got the horn piece that transfers the horn. This is a piece that I need for Kevin's car, the brownish colored Cutlass, because this piece broke off. He wanted the horn to work. That one, somebody, obviously that's brand new, so somebody, when they probably put this steering wheel on, because I'm pretty sure I put the other steering wheel on that matched the other wheels, I think. So anyways, now the turn signal stuff, this one comes off, that bracket comes out, and you got the inner one right there, inner one right there, inner one right there. The flasher piece, you gotta unscrew it, take that piece off, so you can slide this out. This is the column lock, or steering wheel lock right here. Once the key is off, you turn the key on, see how it moves in. And that's how this lock plate right here works to lock the steering wheel. So a lot of you guys, if you got horsepower and stuff like that, if you ever feel the steering wheel get tight on you when you launch or hitting the gas, whatever, this spring, this piece likes to get to where it moves freely and it comes up and catches. So when you instantly hit it, you know, it comes back and hits, and then you're like, click, 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 like, what the hell's going on? And then you got the guys out there that know how to break the columns, and that's obviously what this is, to protect from people breaking the columns, peeling it, whatever. Then when they yank on the steering wheel, they get it to break that. But anyways, all right, let me get the rest of this little stuff apart, and then see if I can't remember how to put it back together. Battered up. I'll be back with some business. All right, y'all, I'm back at it. Listen, I put the steering wheel back together because there was nothing I could do about it. I watched some YouTube videos. I watched some YouTube videos on it, and what they're showing about the pins that go through the side, and I'd have to get this lock all the way off of here, take this all apart, slide it to the down to the side or whatever. Everything that I was looking, it's just too much for me. It's not in my list of things of knowing how and this and that would be my first one. I mean, so many cars come in with, they're never this bad, but loose. I just told them straight up, probably be cheaper and easier just to buy a new column, used column, whatever. Color don't matter because then you can paint it, you know. They got the paint so you can paint the column, whatever. This one's scratched up from the lock. I couldn't get, see, the Allen bolt one, that's 4 mil, whatever. That one came right out. But however this middle one works, I don't know how this middle one works. So I couldn't get it all the way off to get it out of my way. Everything that I seen showed once you take this front part of the column off, you let it hang, and then the pins and stuff in there, and you got to drop the column. So if you got to drop the column anyways to replace the inserts where the pins go, because the pins is what loosens it. The pins get worn out from up and down. There's a spring set up in the bottom of it that you got to undo. So anyways, not in my skill set. I guess if I did the first one, and I know like 20 years ago I did one, but not my thing. It's not my thing. So I'm either gonna leave the car this way, put it up on the lift. The owner, the customer said, hey, can you set the back down some? So like I was saying before about these back springs, I think there's a 250 in this car. I think this shock might be the 209 shock Viking, which is a 12-inch shock, and I do believe the spring is a 12-inch spring, unless I put 10s on here. No, that spring is way up. I don't know, I might have had 10s on here. So what I mean by that is the shock number is a C217, which is easier to fit on a Gbody, especially 24s, and how you need it to sit, so that way the coilover bracket isn't overlapped in the underneath of the rear end bracket. But the C217 Viking shock is considered a 10-inch, which is for like mini trucks, lowered trucks, stuff like that, because you don't have a lot of room in the back with the bed clearance and all that stuff. So that's what I used on the Trailblazer SS. But yeah, back 2-3 years ago, whenever I did this, I was still setting spring heights on the coilover itself. It was a 10-inch. I set it at 9 inches in between top plate and bottom plate. So that was bringing the spring rate up some. So now this time, he said he wants to lower it. So I was planning on undoing that a little bit. So right now, all I gotta do is check the spring up in the air, see what it's at. If it's at, obviously I'll see what spring it is by the number on the spring. It'll say 10. The first number would be 10. In the Vikings, it's 10 DP 250, 12 DP 250, whatever. So the first number is your spring height. QA1 is crazy because you can't even tell. Like, they got different numbers and all kinds of different. Anyways. So yeah, I'll be able to adjust that, and I'm gonna check the compression and rebound, see where it's at. I think I already said that, but anyways. So yeah, couldn't do nothing for the column, y'all. Couldn't show you how I fixed it and stuff like that, but there is plenty of videos out there, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. The time it would take to do that, you could change the You could probably change the column 3 times over, 4 times over in the time it takes. And like I was saying, it needs the Jeep shaft anyways to get rid of that rag joint. So might as well have a basic mechanic. I don't mean any disrespect by that, but you know how people say, oh, my mechanic. Well, that's what a basic mechanic can do, is change out parts that are changeable, you know? So the column can be unbolted, another column can be bolted in. And then at the same time, you got to undo the shaft anyways from the column side. So you might as well just take the shaft out too, put the Jeep shaft in, same time. And that's going to clean up 80% of that slop. So, this car obviously has got a small block Chevy in it. It's a 383, which, I mean, everybody has a 383. If they're a small block Chevy in a car, you can be sure that if they're saying it's a 383. So, I mean, I don't know if dudes is or not. Maybe it is. But I'm just saying, everybody out there with a small block Chevy, it's always a 383. So, Holly intake. He's got a Aldebaran arm, I think, up on there. Something. I mean, that's a quadrijet. I don't even know. So, all right, y'all. I'll get it up in there and tell you what I had it set at and all that stuff, and see what we're gonna reset it to. But yeah, I'll be back. All right, here we are. I turned it around, put it up on a lift, but I juiced it on the smooth concrete as I went out. So there's the marks. But yeah, that steering column and that steering shaft. Yeah. Alright, so a lot of traffic out here, kind of loud. So like I said, 10 DP 250. So that's what this spring is. That's what this shock is. So this shock is actually a C217 Viking shock that I put on here to be able to clear, to be able to tuck. And as you can see, I'm all the way, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Is that, did I count that right, y'all? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, so this is an 11-hole bracket. The regular brackets are 9-hole brackets. This bracket, I do believe, is from Trick Chassis, and it's an 11-hole bracket. So it gives you more down here if you're running this style. So of course, when I do the super drops, which this car price-wise back then, man, I'm gonna tell you, this has got to be 3 years. I want to say it's at least 2.5. I bet you this year's 3 years on this car. But you know, I do the super drop box. I run this off the back of the box, be able to put it down. The way this cross brace is in here, as you can see, I got it pretty high. This anti-roll, so see, the shock I ran off the front of it, where those other cars you see when I put the cross brace in, I either go back, you know, angle the shock back, depending on where I place that. So then anti-roll is coming off the back of this 9-inch. So there's plenty of room here to where, well, this was a good choice of how I did this car. It was a good choice. Let's check these links. These are all jammed. The spring on here is like 9 1/4, 9 1/2. So I can take that a little bit out of there. But the only thing that sucks about that is if you look at the O-ring, I'm not sure if I ever pulled the O-ring down to see where it rides. But normally 2 inches of squish. So that might have been on a heavy ass bump it went up there, so it still didn't bottom out. So if I take spring pressure out, I'm already at the bottom here. I could run 1 hole down, which would leave this bottom hole open off the bracket, and then that would leave whatever ride quality is back here. Compression and rebound was just at 2 on compression, and it was like at 5 on rebound, and I don't understand why I ever set it like that, or it was just that long ago, and now I know how to set everything better. So now I just went 3 and 2 compression and rebound. The lighter the shock, the more compression, the heavier the spring, the heavier the less. So this should be pretty soft for this car, being a 250 spring. But yeah, he does want to bring it down some. Checking all the jam nuts. He said he heard a little noise back here before. So see how far this arm is adjusted out? This arm is adjusted out a lot. These are 24s on here. So this bracket, as you can see, when I do the super drop is put on here at 0 degrees, 90, whatever you want to call it, straight up and down with the pinion. So whatever the pinion is saying, that's what you set the boxes at when you build it. Somebody had just asked me that the other day, what I set it at. But you can tell with the adjustable box, you have the 2 holes, front and back, and you can set it all, whatever. So that's adjusted out pretty far. Let's see this side. Here's that kid every day. I mean, come on, that's gotta be what? 120, 130. But that kid almost every day. But the neighbor would call the cops and say that it was somebody from my house that did that. Yeah, whatever. So, what I'm saying about this one's jammed. Oh, look at that, guys. And I'm the only one that's messed with this car, so it's not jammed. So this could be that little bit of noise that he's hearing. So I'm gonna leave this. I'm gonna have to jam that. So I'll jam that right now. Oh, what do we see on the back of this rim? Let's see what it says right there. It says LF, Lexani Forged Artist. So there you guys go. Oh no. Whatever this one is, but the back is mine, Lexani. So there you guys go. These must be under Lexani to have that stamp on the back. I noticed stuff like that. This tire we can see right here, we can see a light rub, right? If we look up in here, I don't see no rub on the tub. Let me go up over here and look. And yep, there's a little rub on that tub right there, right up there. So, but yeah, everything looks good. I'll throw some grease and anti-roll. The anti-roll, obviously, is a billet. This rear end, how they put the breather, so that way the oil don't come out, but as you can see, the condensation, the fuel, the pipes being like this, gets everything dirty. And then with stuff like this, moisture, you know, exhaust blowing back, moisture getting in these joints could cause these joints to squeak a little bit. But I just drove the car down the driveway and back, and I didn't hear nothing. I mean, I heard the tire squealing. But yes, I made sure there was no bolts, washers, debris, anything like that, even though the floor is dirty. But yeah, no torque box bracing on this one. He just cruises it. The side rails, as you see, they always end up like that over the years. People jacking them off, whatever. Both sides bent up. Common. The car, it's been sealed up pretty good. I can't remember if I fully painted the underneath of it. No, you know what? The place prior to me fully did the underneath of this car. Yeah. I suggest he gets a cross member, but I mean, they did do some real thick metal up there. What is that, like 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch almost thick? They welded it on pretty good, so I don't remember that from before. Yeah, that's a little, ugh. But anyways, oh, look at this. We have a missing collector bolt. Not in there. small tube headers. High torque mini starter. That's a, what is that, 700 or a 200 trans? Oh, what? Leo, you better not go on that property over there, buddy. He'll want your full name and get you trespass. You see, he's a lot smaller now. I don't know. But he's always him and the other cat be getting into it. Look at, he's all beat up. Come on, bud. Come here, Leo. Nah. He wants to run. He's got gashes on his head. But that's a time cat for you. All right, back to what I was saying. Let's check the front. Steering's pretty tight. All the stuff we put in it. I think I did. See what I was saying about these QA1 sleeves, the zinc coating, whatever these are, they just corrode. I mean, yeah, it's dirty, but they just corrode. They look like crap. Best way nowadays is the Pro Forged stuff, guys. Pro Forged is the way to go. It's powder coated, powder coated, powder coated. I believe the link that goes in here to sleeve is a little bit longer than these. These sway bar links suck. So we got the rubbish here. Boom. So QA1 narrowed sway bar would be good for this car. Those are those braces I talk about. I can't stand those braces. All right, let's see if I can get up here. Let's see what this thing is set at. So let's see. 1, 2. Oh, only 2. 1, 2. Let's see the rebound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, I don't understand that. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. This side is all wet, like I'm saying, because of that gearbox is leaking. So it's coming out the gearbox, dripping down. And then it doesn't drip that much, but it drips enough that when he's driving it, blowing it back. You see that how it's all on there? But it needs a gearbox. It needs a gearbox bad. All right, let me go to this one and see. This is rebound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, what the hell? 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, and 2. 3 compression, 2 rebound. But yeah, a very clean car. Let's see, I had to take the brakes and put the brakes on these spindles because there was lifted spindles on this car. So then I had to drill and tap these spindles for this. It's only a 4-piston, but the car stops fine. Everything looks good in the front except for, like I said, you can see right here, the tire. So I'm gonna take the wheels off, be able to trim this up, trim up the backs of the wheel wells a little higher. Same thing over here, you can see how much it was running and it broke it all. The Cutlass says because they have this, you gotta trim them up. No way around it, yo. And then you guys that are shimming the control arms forward, you guys are putting the tire all the way up into that even more. When you see a car turn and then wheels look like let's say this wheel turns to the left and then it looks like the rim is about to fold over onto the ground. That is not a sport steering. That's the people that are trying to clear the frame back here. But as you can see, look, where's the notch at, yo? Yeah, where's the notch? Oh, it doesn't look like it's notched. No, you didn't notch it. Oh, yeah. Made it look like stock. Made it look like stock. Alright, let me get these wheels off here, start trimming some stuff up. And I'll be right back. Yo. Alright. So, we have no rubbish back here, there's never been a mark other than when I cut it before, and you can tell. I must have not ever hit it with the soft wheel, because that's pretty rough. The front though, right there, Cutlass. So you can see how much it's been hitting and peeling. So I'll trim this up, grind it. We have our basic rubs on the frame and on the sway bar due to the sway bar being wider. You can see my alignment. There's only shim. That's one fat shim, so that'd be like 2 1/8" shims. It might be 2, it might be 1 fat one. Let's see if you guys can see that. One with the bolts in, so that way they can't come loose. They're not loose, the front is fine. Just that right there. Now let's go up to this side. Same thing, got the spacer on there. So you can run the cab on here. Same thing, as you can see right here. The tire catching it, and like he said, backing up, so that would pull it right backwards, yeah, would pull it upwards. So then once it flexed it a little bit, it started flexing it more. I just turned it around. You know, I went down the driveway and turned it around there, and I purposely turned it all the way, and then purposely turned it all the way to back up and come down the driveway to see how bad it would scuff. This looks like, yep, there's a little mark right there. So I'll take these and I'll trim these up higher. And then I noticed a piece of rubber right in here. So the way this piece is right here, I'll trim this. You know, 6s, no matter what, you gotta trim this. But I'll probably get rid of this. I'll probably get rid of this bolt. No, I'll probably leave that bolt, and I'll trim this so that I can get this piece out of here. That's probably all I did was cut right there. Catch right there. Same thing on this side. Just going over everything, y'all. Going over everything. Everything looks good, except for that rubbish right there. Then you can see the tops of the fender. So you're gonna end up into this stuff. Well, that's just hanging down. Maybe there's a bolt missing. Oh yeah, there's a bolt missing right there. So I'll see what I can do about this stuff. But with this rub right here, you know, hitting a big dip in the road or whatever, this car sits pretty good. It sits pretty low. And then having that spacer on there, now think about it, if that spacer wasn't on there and the wheel could sit under more, that would probably make up the difference a little bit. But on Kevin's car, the brownish, goldish car, I trimmed these up. So I might get in here and trim these up. I mean, it's still gonna rub the fender. I'm not gonna cut that, but I'll trim this. But yeah, frame notch, flat light. This car, they did everything on me flat. That is a dirt mark. No, that's a little pivot, divot. But look, y'all, no cracks. No cracks. No imperfections. Like I said, I'm not perfect with it. My signature notch to the front part of the frame, which some talk shit about and say this and say that and wah. But you can see all that money you spent. You see all that money you spent right there on them Vikings, on them coilovers. You look right through the wheel and you can see that. And you're gonna be like, oh man, you got coilovers, man. You don't see that shit, bro. Anyways, see if I can adjust this piece like I did Kevin's. Oh yeah, see, I bet you if I flex right here like I did Kevin's, I'll get this piece to set in more. Ooh, this one actually, like the lip of the bumper right here is bent. So, I don't know if I can get that one to go in there. I'll try though. I'll at least give it a try. Yeah, this side's bad too. So see what I'm saying about the inside? Look how bad that is bent. It's bent out. So I might be able to get the crescent wrench up in there and flex that top part. Because that's actually supposed to be behind that thing. Oh, my finger just made that line dirtier. Oh, it's like a little scratch. But I put dirt in it now. Alright. Well, the back pretty sure I can just, I'm just gonna go down one hole. So, like I said, with the coilover bracket right there, that's on the 11th hole at the bottom. So, I'll just go down one hole to where, boom, boom, and that should give that little bit of tuck. So, you know, in between that bolt center to center is probably 3/4 of an inch. So, 3/4 of an inch, tucking it down, that's gonna change the whole look, or keep the same rod. See, the back ones, well, I mean, that could go in a little bit. See that? See how it sticks out? So that little bit changes the whole look. So the back is how this bracket, no, that one's not even tight right there. So you want to flex that area, but I don't think you can really flex the back. I don't think Kevin's car had that problem in the back. Yeah, same thing on this side. So however, this little piece of metal, maybe. Alright, let me trim these fronts, get the wheels back on. But yeah, these concaves, like I said, here, let's look at this rear end again. This rear end, I'd have to measure axle to axle and see what it comes up, but I'm pretty sure that this rear end is not narrowed, because the other wheels that were on here were just a basic lip. You know, and these are concave and they have very shallow backspace or hub. And that's a 24 by 10, 11 overall. So, I know there's other brands out there that the pad is made, you know, real shallow like this, and then the wheel curves back, so that way the distance here is out more, but yet you still get lip. So this wheel, let's see, what do I do with duct tape? All right, we got a tape right over here. Let's just look at what this wheel says the face is. All right, let's see. So if we go face there, we got 5.5. So go back, we got 6.5. So it's basically just a 5-inch lip, and just that concave, making it, you know, look like it's got some lip. I mean, I like it. I like the wheel. I think the wheel is a way better choice than the other wheels that were on it. This thing had like a 5-star artist wheel on it before. But yeah. All right, y'all, enough talking and trying to explain shit. I know a lot of you guys understand, but there's other people that don't understand shit. And that's all I'm trying to do. I've been trying to do for years, is just teach how to do this stuff. And then you find a technique that works better than my technique, you know? I'm teaching the people that are at home with a grinder, a cutoff wheel, and a little welder, you know? I don't have an English wheel. I don't have the big badass tools and this and that. I'm gonna put a bolt in that header for them. They can totally see how that's going. I'll put one in there. But yeah, teaching the people that want to come home from work, go in the garage, tinker with this shit, and if they have a basic idea, and you guys know, I show the videos of how to cut it, this and that. Oh, I just seen a shop the other day, I forget what shop it was, but they had a Gbody up on the lift. Excuse me. Somebody that's just learning, and they had no stands under the car. I always take my screw jacks and I put underneath the sway bar mount, and I put a little bit of pressure up on here. That way when you cut this open and take that piece out, it doesn't hang. Then if you got it hanging and this and that, the car, you can see the door gap open up more. If you take a Gbody, a box Chevy, whatever, put it on the lift without seeing a frame notch or anything, there's no frame notch to the car. Take it, put it up on the lift. Look at that gap when the car's on the ground, take it up on the lift, look at that gap when the car's in the air. They flex a little bit. So, I mean, you can see that's pretty tight, but I forgot what this one looked like on the ground. But these guys are cutting that open with no stands in the front. And then they're doing it one at a time. So if you do this side, cut it open. and you weld it in. You don't have a stand in the front. Then you turn around and you cut the other side. This side flexed. Now did that side over there, once you cut it over, did it flex the same or less? Because yeah, when you cut this side open, that side was still together. But I've had cars back in the day flex. And then I gotta preload the stands before I weld it all up. And then I'll let it sit and cool before I take them stands out. Because that's, you know, the way I do it. There's a lot of heat going in there, filling it in, and this and that. But again, I mean, look at, you guys know what I do to do that and how I plate it in. So again, there's a plate through this area, and there's a plate. So this one back then is when I was cutting the whole plate out way farther. Now I only cut out the middle, fold the sides in, and plate over it, 1/8 inch or 3/16, whatever. If the stock steel, which is what, not even 1/8 inch, if the stock steel is okay, why isn't it okay to put the stock steel back in and then plate over it and plate over it? I think these back in the day I was going 4x6 plate right here of 1/8 inch or 3/16. And then there's something in here, but you got to come up past this mount in order for the wheel to not rub. And as you can see, there's no rub mark on that notch. This car would most likely clear a 26 with, you know, a little bit of trimming here. And that's the other thing. It's like these pieces, one side will touch, one side won't touch. So this side didn't touch, but the driver's side did touch. The back of the car from ground up, with the car on the ground, is 28 1/4 to the wheel opening, the trim, the gold, whatever you want to call it. And the front was 29. The front was actually coming up a 1/2 inch difference. That the driver's side was lower, and that's kind of goofy. So depending on when the fender was put on and how it's hanging. Some cars, if you look from the front, you look at the windshield pillars, you look at the front of the car, the header panels would be crooked. One fender would be lower than the other. You'll notice a bigger gap on this side than the other side. A lot of little shit over and over and over. But lost my place. Anyways, basic ball joint, new style arm, not pro touring. I don't have the bump stops in there, but I cut the bump stop plate off the frame. When you cut that off, you give all this more clearance, so everything controls more, travels more efficient, this and that. If you were trying to take the car up in the air and lift it up some more, twist the spring up some more. Oh look, see 550 is 10 RP, 550 in the front of here, Gbody, and then that little bit of gap. So that's like what, a one inch gap right there. 350 steel heads. Weight wise, the car sits good. But yeah, alright, I can't remember what else I was saying about that notch. Oh yeah, the car's been together this long and then whatever. There's no crack anywhere on the welds. Nowhere there's a crack. So nothing's flexing. This is like a wrinkle point. This is like a wrinkle point. If you were to get into a car accident, you know, people are like, oh man, I'd hate to get into an accident with that. Well, look at all the newer cars. All the newer cars are built with wrinkle points in them, so that way they absorb the impact. Old school cars, the Dunks and stuff like that, solid frames, this and that. It's a heavy car hitting into something. You would feel that more than a newer car hitting. Look at how many people survive newer car accidents because they have wrinkle points, yes, airbags, whatever. What I'm saying is, if this car was to get into an accident and it folded, it would absorb, so that way you didn't take a big ass hit, you know. Anyway, some of you guys know what I'm talking about. But all right, let me trim these up and I'll get back to you. All right. Check this out. I trimmed that up. Did the cutoff wheel, did the grinder, cleaned up all the burrs, and just took the matte black and just lightly went over it. I went over the rub marks that was right there. I have all this back here. I trimmed higher, went all the way around there. I trimmed the bottom piece off of here. I put the bolt in, the collector, like I said I would. It's crazy about that bolt. That bolt came out of the rear sway bar setup on the green Monte Carlo, and those were the bolts that were in the back control arm. And that went right in there. There's still a little bit of thread there, but I mean, it's tight now. That's a plus. This is how the steering stop setup works here, right? So I had put 2 washers on it years ago, and then I just put a thicker washer, and this is one of the washers that comes in the kit with the aftermarket sway bars. That is a washer that goes on this bolt into the frame, but the aftermarket sway bar that's narrow has a bracket that goes across there, blah, blah, blah. But I was trying to eliminate it rubbing so hard here. The car has tons of turning, got plenty of turning. So trim those, clean them up, put a little paint on there. Inside you can see how the plastic just, same thing over here, clean it up, ground it up. Just overlaid the mat on there a little bit. Did the same thing to here, but this wasn't rubbing as much. But I did notice that how much this collar is adjusted up. That one, the right side, is adjusted way higher than this one. So I'm not really sure what's going on there. As you can see, when I did the frame notch, this wasn't bent out. So, and you see the paint's chipped off. So once again, tow truck drivers, you guys are hooking cars and look, that's bumped out. You're bending frames on cars because you're over tightening them. If a car has a frame notch, you definitely shouldn't hook there. Why are you hooking there? You got holes like this that you could be hooking to from, like, you know, this is a cross member. So this car's got the double cross member holes. So you could hook here. This is way stronger here than there. This is pulling more down, where this is gonna pull more forward to the truck. What was I noticing back here? Frame tails and stuff like that on cars. These guys that be hooking back here, see, there's a mark in this one right there. They're hooking in here. Why would you hook so far back here? And then when you tie down to the truck, you're tying down like this. You're actually putting so much pressure. Go in front of the rear end. Go to these holes right here. And then you're running from this angle all the way back to that angle in the back of the truck, which is holding the car better and pulling it back, not pulling it down. So you guys gotta watch these tow truck guys. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's, you know, that's a 50-50 chance right there. The guys that own their own trucks and have cars, they know how to tighten a car down and what's too tight and stuff like that. The car's in park, as long as you stop the front to back movement and you have a little bit of pressure, look, that is bent out because they put that one hook in here that's, you know, they twist it and then it's pulling, but you're bending the frame. You're causing stress here. A lot of dumb shit, man. I mean, why? If you're hooking around the cross member, or, you know, the main engine cross member, make sure they have a strap that slides through there and it has the hooks on it. Then you put the hook in it and you run the winch, you put your safety, whatever. But you shouldn't be hooking the fronts of the cars right here because you're pulling the car down instead of forward. I should just get a tow truck, right? I'm not kidding, a tow truck. All right, front stuff, buttoned up. I stab my hand in the middle with the damn tool on that cart or in my drawer. I don't know. Anyways, I'm jacking myself up all the time. But I'm throwing these front wheels back on, and I'm gonna torque the lug nuts with my impact. So many people out there, oh, put wheels on. Oh, after 25 miles, retorque your studs. If you know how to use an impact and you put the wheels on, this is what I get. Man, I had my car at the rim shop the other day and their air gun couldn't get the wheel off. How do you tighten it up? DeWalt impact. I make sure wheels are tight. I've never had a wheel fall off a customer's car. This chair is wood. To this day. Years ago, one of my cars, I got on the brakes, I felt a wobble. I was like, oh shit, I better hurry up and get back to the shop. I mean, this is when I was probably 18 years old, so 20 years ago. Right? No, 30? 40? Whatever. Anyways, I felt the wobble, went around a little bit of a curb, sure shit, wheel came off, boom. Didn't hurt the car though, it was on some stocks, and it was a 67 four-door. Impala. So anyways, I'm gonna throw these wheels back on the front and go back here and adjust one hole down on the coilover. And realistically, that's it. I'll call the customer and be like, hey, send transport or come get it or whatever. But yeah, I'll get back to it. That up. All right. Got the front all trimmed up, all that stuff, boom. That's what I did in the back. So like I said, these are 11 hole brackets. I went down one hole to get the car for distance of here to here, probably about 3/4 of an inch of lower. I had 8 1/4 from ground to the gray part right there on both sides in the back. So we're gonna set it down. We're gonna see how it is. The Cutty L414. And that's it for this car. Quick adjustments. Trimmed all that up in the front. Adjusted the fucking steering. But again, he needs a steering column to get rid of all that slop in the tilt. Or it needs to be rebuilt by somebody who knows how to do that stuff. It needs a gearbox. That's the original 1985 gearbox. It needs that taken care of. And it needs a Jeep shaft to get rid of the rag joint. And then he should be all good. I'm about to put it down, see where my son's at, and have him and me. He can drive. We'll take her for a test drive up and down the street and see what she does. See how she rides. See if I can adjust it better. Oh, I'm gonna check the tire pressure, see where it's at. We wanna be at 35. But yeah, all right, let that up. All right, y'all, check it out. There it is. Outside, sitting good. We're gonna take it for a test drive right now. Well, it should be all good except for that plate that's in the gearbox. So we'll find out. And like I said earlier, when I turned it around in the driveway, it had a good amount of turning, but very light rub in the front, but that's on those plastics like I was talking about. But yeah, he wanted it to be like the tire disappearing. Oh, there it is. The tire disappeared. Let's see how it rides with my big ass in there. Look at that short bed step side Chevy. Oh yeah. A lot of cool cars go by here all the time. Yeah. That wheel's a little bit to the right. That wheel's a little bit to the right. But alright, y'all. Better Customs, Bankroll 10. And we out. Alright, y'all. There it is. Done. Photo shoot in the front yard. It's not exactly where I always park the cars. My son parked it there. But got that ass in down lower. Went for the test ride down the road and back. Car drove pretty good. Turned around at the end of the street in a driveway. No scrubbing, no rubbing. That concave wheel right there. Like I said again, there's no narrow to this rear end. Never mind the cat prints. But yeah, there it is, y'all. Bed that up. Alright, on to the next one. I'm out. Let that up, Bankroll 10. Hopefully I give all the information that everybody needs, because that's what I try to do. That's the only reason I do the videos. Give anybody and everybody the information that they need. And they can put their own twist on it. So, bet that up. I'm outies. Give you guys a little bit of the sound of the car. Got that medium magic shifter in there. If you don't have that shifter set right, it's hard to find reverse and stuff. So, you know, when you're in drive, you gotta be in drive to be able to pull the shifter up to go into park. exactly what the motor is. Small block Chevy. I don't think it's a 383. But got a nice little sound to it. Looks a little bouncy in the driveway, but when it goes down the road, it drove good. Except that little bit of steering. But alright, y'all, there it is. Big old town. I'm out. I'm not seeing what they're trying to get another one. Alright, y'all, that's it. Big old town. I'm out.